Hi everyone, good evening. Just here live, actually getting ready for Pesach. We just did the B'dikat Chametz. Here, just staying actually in Ramat Gan at the moment. And what a better place, we are making such progress. Here in this series of Daf Yomi, we're in Daf Nun Daled, friends, in Masechet Bava Metzia. That is page 54. And we're talking all about tithes in today's Daf at the moment. Very, very interesting. We've been learning about in this encyclopedic series all about the different kinds of tithes that one has to give to the poor. What time of year do we give it to? There's so many different reasons and explanations that we can go through, and we can actually see that I'm just taking a seat now, just taking a bit of breathe. It's been a very, very busy evening. That we've been talking that we know that there's a Maaser Sheni, Maaser Sheni. These are different tithes that have to be given out. We know there's a Maaser Ani that also has to be given out respectively in the third and fourth year, respectively. Sometimes they've got to be given to the Kohanim, and sometimes also to the Leviim, respectively. So to the different people over there. But that's very, very much interesting. But what's interesting is that we actually see there's these crops, these produce that we get sometimes. Sometimes we know that we need to bring it to Jerusalem, to the temple, a lot of them, and it could be difficult, naturally, for people to do it. So what do? Instead of bringing large crops to Jerusalem, respectively, the Torah allows the farmer to redeem his crops and take the money instead to Jerusalem, where he could buy any food products there. This is something that we learn about in Sefer Devarim in chapter 14, in the pasuk number 26, respectively. So what's interesting is that aside from the value of the Maaser Sheni itself, the owner will then be required, actually from the Torah, to add a 20% extra, 1/5, as a penalty, because they're not actually bringing the thing itself. Let's just call it, let's say, a service charge for the redeeming of the fruit rather than bringing it to Jerusalem. There's that luxury, let's just say, that alternative, respectively, within regards to that. However, a question is going to be asked actually by the Gemara over here in today's Daf, that we know that it's an absolute requirement, this is, or if the Maaser Sheni can be eaten, if it is paid for, even if the additional sum is not added for the redemption fee over here. There's an answer to the question over here. It's actually built on the Braita, where the great rabbi of the name Rabbi Eliezer, rules that Maaser Sheni, without the additional fifth, can be eaten, he will hold over here. You don't need that extra penalty over there. However, another great rabbi, Rabbi Yoshua, he rules that it cannot be eaten over here. So the machloket between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua, respectively. Then Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, we call respectively, he accepts Rabbi Eliezer's position that on Shabbat, to honor the Shabbat itself, with this food, the sages allowed it to be eaten. And Rabbi Yeshua's position that he would go by during the week. So there's a chiluk whether it's on Shabbat itself or if it's during the week also, which is very, 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 very interesting. But just to go further, there's the first approach which we've learned from the Gemara. It takes to suggest that Rabbi Eliezer believes that the additional 20%, let's just say, it's not a necessity, it's not an absolute requirement over here. While Rabbi Yehoshua believes that it is a requirement of it. Now, Rab Papa comes in and he will actually reject this conclusion. He argues that neither believe it to be an absolute requirement. And the argument is whether it is, we fear that the individual will not be responsible enough to pay for the additional charge itself, respectively. The Mahartz Chayot, he is actually going to ask why the Gemara did not consider the possibility that all agree that the extra payment is an absolute requirement, but it is one that the sages pushed aside in interest of Oneg Shabbat. There's a huge, it's huge inyan, the whole thing of the joy of Shabbat itself, honoring Shabbat itself. We know that. We've been learning that in previous videos also. And that's one of the reasons why in this, there's going to be, let's just say, this leniency, according to some of the opinions, that on Shabbat itself you won't have that penalty, within regards to helping the person to achieve the mitzvah of Oneg Shabbat. Just shows how great the aspect of delight of Shabbat is itself, respectively, within regards to all these factors over here. But very, very interesting. Okay, once again, this can, like many of these classes, adapted from the notes of Rabbi Adin Steinzal, Zechet Tzadik Lebracha, I'd like to show you a view of where we're staying also, but it is a bit dark at the moment. I haven't been able to set up the light. We did the B'dikat Chametz tonight, and wishing you all a good night. Please watch over all the previous shirim. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button wherever you're watching from. And take care. Have a great evening.